Well, it's been a while since an update. A bunch of stuff has been going on all summer. The car's been down. Been trying to figure out why it wouldn't start and all that kind of stuff. I still think the pistons got washed out because the tune got messed up, and the pedal with the pedal follower switch that I'd mentioned got turned on, and the injectors ran wide open. But in the process of diagnosing that, come to find out that part of one of the well, I should say, in diagnosing that, I found out that one of the one of the heads, when I pull it off the rocker, was off on the head and was just sitting there. So it destroyed one of the rockers, destroyed the valve, and unfortunately I already sent the head off to be fixed, so I can't really show you, but it destroyed the rocker, the valve, the top little keeper for the spring, and that lobe on the cam. So I had to get a new cam, rocker, a couple valves are going to have to be replaced, and a couple other things. And so then when I took the heads off, I did discover a little bit more, and maybe a couple other valves that need to be worked on. Whatever it was that went through the engine, and maybe it was part of the valve that got busted off or something. Looks like it went through into the number one hole, and so it messed up the sleeve, and so the sleeve is going to have to be replaced. Probably doesn't really show up on camera very well, but there is some pretty nasty grooves right down in here from that. And so, like I said, it messed up that piston. It also messed up the sleeve. So I'm gonna have to get a new sleeve for this one and a new piston. This piston had some pretty nasty scratches on the side, but the sleeve seems okay. So 2 new pistons, but the block's gonna have to be sent back to MMR to be re-sleeved, so that can get taken care of. I did go with brand new rings, trying the gapless rings from Total Seal. So I'm gonna try that. They're supposed to, have a better seal, because it's like a 2-part ring, and that should keep a better seal, and also, not let as much blow by, and in theory, a little bit more compression, a little bit more horsepower because of that. Let's see what else. Oh, and whatever went through got under the gasket a little bit. It looks like on the number one here. This looks okay, but on the on the head side, it's got some scratches underneath it, so they're going to see if they can fix that. That is the same number 3 cylinder that got messed up when I put the pistons in backwards when I originally built the engine. So I'm having them check to make sure that the valves are true and straight and not off like a degree or half a degree, to make sure that that's what was going that was not what caused the issue, because it is weird that that rocker and stuff that got destroyed is on the same one with the problems. One thing that was brought up, which I hadn't thought about but is an interesting idea, is when that happened, I did not replace the rockers because they all looked okay, but it's possible one of the rockers was just ever so slightly bent, not enough that you would see it, but just off just ever so slightly, and then over the course of time that wore, and because it wasn't straight, and it wore funny and caused that issue. So it's been kind of a several layers of this. I did find out with the new cam, I sent that cam and the other 3 cams off to Modular Head Shop and had them check the timing on the other 3 cams I did, and they were off. They said about half to 3/4 of a degree, which is what I knew they were, because I couldn't get it. That was about as close as I could get it, and so I know that I did degree the cams correctly. So going forward in the future, if I ever had to do that again, I don't have to spend the money to have that done. I know I can do it myself. It takes a while, but I know that I can do it. So that's kind of where we are at. Oh, I'm also replacing all the bearings on the rod bearings and the main bearings, because I believe when the injectors got ran wide open, a lot of gas got into the oil and caused dilution, because the all the bearings are showing. A couple of them had some scratches in it, but most part they were okay. But they were all discolored, showing they got hot. And but the car never got hot, and I never got hot for the oil. Um, it does have the transmission cooler, the engine oil cooler. It has the bigger radiator. I have the aftermarket big radiator and stuff on it, so nothing ever got hot that indicated it. But I'm thinking just the gas in the oil made the lubrication break down, and the pieces just got hot because they didn't have very good lubrication. The bearings did, and that's what caused that discoloration. Also, with that number three going bad, as far as the rocker and stuff like that, that could explain why we've always had issues. I've always had issues with the fact that the O2 sensors from passenger side to driver side, from bank to bank, are never close like they should be, within 5%. Sometimes they are, other times they're off 12+%. Well, if this one was sticking open and closed periodically because it had flat spots on the roller and stuff, so if this wasn't rolling smooth, and so maybe that valve was hanging open, or it was not closing all the way a little bit or something like that, that may have caused some issues, and that may have also, hopefully that's what was causing the O2 sensors to be not identical and being off a little bit, was that kind of hanging a little bit. So hopefully that resolves that issue. But yeah, it's quite the deal. So it's basically going to be down all winter, work on rebuilding it and stuff. I'm going to do some additional upgrades. They're in the house right now, but I'm going to work on. I'm going to have the exhaust powder coated, and to sort of try to keep some of the heat in, because it does get pretty warm into the engine bay and stuff like that. So I'm going to have them ceramic powder coated to try and keep the heat in, and probably the mid pipe kind of there too a little bit. I'm going to have that heated too, to keep the, like I said, the temperatures towards the back. I'm also going to use like the turbo fittings on here instead of like the slip fittings, the traditional slip fittings for the exhaust. I'm going to move to more of like the turbo style fittings, where basically I'll weld on to the end like a clamp, or like not a clamp, but too bad they aren't out here so I could show you, but almost like it's like a, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it, but basically like a quick disconnect, like the turbo guys have for their exhaust, and so that'll be on there, and then basically it has a like a just because they go up a little bit, and it's basically just a C clamp type thing that will go over them, and that's what'll clamp it down. So if you want to take the exhaust off, all you do is take the bolt out, the C clamp on each side, and boom, basically boom, the exhaust will just drop, instead of having to slide it forward or back, and with the slip fit style. So that is also, I'm also going to do that. Also, as long as I have it apart and stuff like that, when hopefully this gets taken care of and we can get the tune done and everything, again an E85. So when that is done, I'm going to go on E85. They make a crank support that you can do for the GT500s, so that when you really start leaning on it, and pushing it pretty hard, you can potentially get a little bit of a crank flex, and that can cause some issues. In extreme case, it would snap off the front of the crank, but it can cause bearing issues and whatnot, obviously because it's flexing a little bit. Now this is a hardened crank, so should not have that issue, but just to be on the safe side, I think I'm going to get that mounts to the front here and provides support for the front of the crank. So when we put that smaller pulley on and we're really leaning on it on the 85, we shouldn't have any kind of deflection or any kind of flex in the crank. So that's kind of where that's at. But I've talked long enough, so that's kind of where things are at the moment. Maybe a little while before another update, just because, like I said, everything's apart, and so right now just kind of waiting on getting things fixed and getting things sent away and stuff. But if I come across any other little things or anything I remember that I forgot, I will do another update. But otherwise, sorry for being a little bit long, but that's been a while, so just trying to catch up, and that's kind of where we're at. Thanks for watching.